Okay, so we are now live, and this is part 64 of the game engine coding live stream, part 9 of the file loading and saving and high scores. Huvole, probably spelled the name wrong, pronounced, guaranteed I have. Hi from Vietnam, I sort of guessed he was from that part of the world. With love, thank you very, very much. And hi from the UK as well. Okay, so we was on, I think I had finished the last thing I had started within the high score stars. There's a couple of things remaining, but I think I'd finished what we had started. There wasn't anything outstanding that we had started. Just said that like a million times. Okay, because if we go to now here, set maximum number of high scores, adapt the current load and saving to accommodate this regardless of how many scores there are in the file. Yes. So what I want to do is get set a maximum number of high scores, and I'm gonna say unsigned int underscore maximum max number of high scores, max num of high scores, and when we construct it we'll set that there, const, not cost, const unsigned int, be a constant reference. Let's copy and paste this name without the underscore. That's what it'll be. Copy that, paste it here, and we are gonna say underscore maximum number of high scores. There we go, like so. Maximum number of high scores. Okay, so now what we're going to say is okay, so let's first of all have a look at it from a loading scores from file perspective. Could adapt this. Big project. Ooh, that's, yep, very big project indeed. Okay, so yes, okay, so maximum number of high scores, load from files. So if let's say there's 6 there, we shouldn't be able to load from. We should only load a maximum of 5. So what we'll actually say, what we will actually say is, okay, so score file data, for loop. We're going to transition the other one to this. For, I mean, let me Google this. For loop unsigned versus sign int. Like, you don't really see many people do unsigned int. So what's the reason why? Okay, so can you run it? Yeah, I can give it a run. Well, I can now. I could at that moment because that would have resulted in error. You're not going to really see anything. Probably, I don't know if you're even going to see anything in the command terminal. Nah, you shouldn't see. You're not going to see anything. It's just going to be blank. Well, that's fine. We're just working on some of the underlying features of the engine. At the moment, it is Highscores. Ooh, we do get an error. Yes. That should hopefully build now. Forgot that I did change the high score class, so you required a parameter for the constructor setting. How many your fingers there are? That's what you get. It's nothing special. It's a white screen at the moment. So there was another feature I wanted to add. I'm gonna lower this pretty far down here. I'm gonna say, I hate to explain what I wanted. Borders left and right, up and down, going to center, like a movie, changing from 16 by 9 to 21 by 9. Use rectangle shape and ability to set color. I think this will be a pretty cool feature to just have in there. Okay, so also want to add that in here there is a parameter, and that parameter is pretty obvious what it is. The maximum number of high scores. Okay, so what we're going to do in here, we're going to create a loop. So let's do that now. So what was the verdict with unsigned in practice? I'll keep this as unsigned int, but I won't put the loop thing as unsigned. I'll keep that as regular int. So int I equals 0. I less than maximum number of high scores if I, and I forgot to do the I++. If I is less than score forward data dot size, then we're basically going to be doing something like this. What we're going to say is, instead of score, it's going to be score forward data dot at I and that'll be date, time, and score. Okay, so that's how do I uncomment it with the, so it's, yes, okay, here we go. So if we do that and else, we don't actually need these here, to be fair, because this has to be done on every single line. And we'll say for this, you will set a default score and the name. We'll set some bogus name of not set put 0, and I'm going to put 0. That's what we're going to put now. Not handling saving yet. All we're doing is handling this. I think we should be ready to run now. So if we get, we'll print that off. So let's see what this gets us now. So if I go over to resources and we get score.json, which is over here, score.json, and this should result in 5 scores printed out. If what I think is correct, if I add a 6th one, it will not print out the 6, it'll just print out 5. If I take one away, so we only got 4, the last one should be 0 and no set, not set, or no set or not set, or whatever I put that. If that works, then we can look at saving it, because if there aren't enough, saying that, don't think that'll be an issue, because you gotta load it first. That won't be an issue. Saving ain't. Okay, we get an error. Again, I don't know if we got the error because of this, because I don't know if that ever actually still worked or not. Let's have a look. If I do this, see what we get. Okay, so I'm still throwing it. It's something from what I've done. You don't like what I've done somewhere. And maybe it doesn't like doing it like this. Let me try. Because it should at least have... Oh, is it what I is this? Let's just have a look at that. You should at least be able to get one from it. That's still the same problem. So can you not use it? It says cannot use it with... Like, are you not allowed to use it then? Can I maybe just do this? Can it doesn't really affect me either way. Just need to get it working, and they don't like that. No, that's the VC142 error, which keeps happening now and again. That's not an issue. Still same thing. Cannot use a numeric argument. There we go. So that means I've got it. We have to do it like this. One. If that's the case, that's an easy fix that I can just basically do std : 2 underscore string open paren, then I blah blah blah. Nothing is printed out for the simple reason I uncommented this line out. Let's give this another run. Yes, that's fine. Okay, so if I change this now to std : 2 string, well, that's a function call. You don't want to be doing the function call every single time. So if I just put unsigned int std : index equals std : 2 string, and if I was to say I plus 1, what am I doing? It needs to be std : string. At that point, it needs to be a const. Okay, so this should just work the way it was before, and then we'll do the test of adding an extra score and doing the test of removing a score as well. Yep, that's working the way it was before. Good stuff. There's no repeated value, as you can see by the date time. It's just there's an extra London value of the same score that was added. Okay, so if I was to add this, so this will be 6. So if I was to add that, and I'll give this a reload, it still only gets me if I yeah, it's being used by another process, that's fine. If I run that, there's a little mistake, but I don't think that knows something more related to this. So if I was to am I saving something? I feel like I'm saving something as well. Save score. There we go, that's now messing something up. Okay, so if I go back to here, I'll save that and I'll give that a reload. Okay, so if we copy this now, and if I put a 6 here, let's see if I change the name to Bobby, yes, oh, no. And I'll give that a run, that should not print out, that should not get hold of Bobby. That's good. Now if I was to go ahead and let's say if I undo this and I get rid of this one entirely, so there's only 4 of them now then, not set, there we go. So there has to be, you know, a minimum number, and okay, so that should be done then. Because if you try and save something, yeah, because if you look, if we look here, when we try and save, we load the scores anyway. So that's that done. Create a fresh file with scores in it. So we just want a method to actually create a file. So and populate it with some scores. So we're going to say void create save file, and here we will give the option to specify how many scores we want. Otherwise you'll use the default one here, that one there. Now I want to be able to override the maximum number of high scores, so I want to say void. We're gonna have a set first. Set maximum number of high scores to const unsigned int. That right here, and then we're gonna have return the unsigned int get maximum number of high scores, get maximum number of high scores, and this is going to be a const. The check score, can that be a const or not? Cannot remember. I think this can be a const. Don't think there's anything going on here with that prevents it from being a const. Save score obviously can't be. Load scores from file. Nah, there's some overriding going on around there. So okay, so if we create the implementation, and here set maximum number of high scores, underscore maximum number of high scores equals maximum number of high scores. Simple stuff, very easy. And here we're gonna say, oh, that shouldn't be said, that should be get. Let's do that. So we're gonna say return underscore maximum number of high scores. That's that done, and let's comment this bad boy so it's no return type, but it has a parameter, and the parameter is, actually I can just copy and paste that, save some time. Set the maximum number of high scores. And it's up to you to reload the file then. Okay, get maximum number of high scores, so this is going to be return time, no parameter, so this is going to be get the how many scores can be stored in this high scores, and returns the maximum number of high scores. Create a save file. So we're gonna have this. This will be optional. Otherwise, you'll use what you've just passed in. So we're gonna say equals no. Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that or not. I feel like I can't. No. What I could do is set it to -1 perhaps, and if it is -1, then you will have to, then you'll keep the existing one. Okay. Create save file, create implementation, actually no, we're gonna force an override. I'm gonna force you to set that, so we're gonna say the save first of all, we really need the actual file path. Can't do much without that. We'll also say const. This will be optional. Std : string default name. So you'll be able to set a default name, but that will be optional. Otherwise, you'll literally just be set to not set. Comma, and we'll have a default time. Yeah, that's fine. I'll get that. Or we can have a default time set and a default score set. So const long default date time. If it's not set, it's going to be equal to 0. We're going to have another const long default score. Just in case you want to, I don't know, the base score is 100, for example. You want the date time to be set at maybe the minimum. 0, so by default it's going to be 0, and it's not set. And so that's creating the save file. I can get rid of that old one. Okay, so how are we going to go about this? I'm just trying to think. Potentially we could call a save score method. You know what? What happens if I try and save a score to a file that doesn't actually exist, like scores 4? Will this give me an error, or will this create the file? Find out. Okay, let me check something. so that crashes it. So that's the save score method. Actually, I don't even know if that's crashing it, because I haven't run the save score method since the update. It might be crashing it for some other reason. Let's have a look. Nah, it's not some other reason then. Okay, so London. If we look at that file, we'll probably just have three Londons. Yes, that's fine. Okay, so if we go to here, save score, I'm gonna hazard a guess that it is because of the load scores from file. Might not be, but I'm gonna hazard a guess that is what it is. So let's have a look. We're almost there with this high score stuff now. With all, yeah, okay, there we go. Same error, path error. Oh yeah, the path error. Path. That right there, I'm guessing that is what is causing the issue. Then if I give that a run, and what that is, we can ignore that. Should solve itself. Okay, that works fine. So it is to do with this path file. That shouldn't really be much of an issue to solve. So we've got get line from file, and if we go into file manager, so if we were to say get line from file, we could set the status of it as unknown error underscore file status equals unknown error, and that's file underscore status colon. There we go. So I'm gonna say that unless it did a close file, we'll probably change the status as well. Yeah, that would we should make it change the status, I guess. I'm gonna say underscore file status equals file status open, and I think we can get the. No, we don't have a way of getting this. Oh, we gotta get a status method. So we'll simply say we'll first do this. And that will return a string, so std : string, and this can be a I think we can make this as a const, and we'll say file data equals that. Yeah, I guess we can say if manager dot get status that is equal to file manager file status open. Then we'll run this line here. I know we're gonna have a couple of issues regarding the scope, but we're gonna fix that in a second. And this is gonna be file data. I'm gonna say do that, paste that there, put that there. That there. Okay, so that's that error fix. I didn't even know we had an error there. So if I was to put not London, they put 102, and I put New York City, and New York City is apparently getting the high score around. To the star, New York City, that's been saved. Now let's see what happens if I put scores 4, which does not exist. That works. Did it create it? Okay, so they should be all not set except for that one. So we already set a high score. Okay, yes, that works really well. I mean, do we need to create a save file then? And I mean, no, it probably is best to have a method for that. Nah, I don't think that's a bad idea to have a method for that. We can set the default values. Now I'm thinking, is there a way that I can just leverage save score? Yeah, I'll just leverage load scores from file, like save score. Now we'll save score. Now I wanted to check something. If I do load scores from, so if I do save score, and I'll comment all of this out, will this actually create it or not? So if I was to say, I don't need to do that. So if I just do this, will this create it? If this does, I could just call the load scores from file method. Yeah, I know that's gonna do that. That's done something. That's what I want. It's created it, but it hasn't saved it yet. So obviously the saving at the saving point would do it. Okay, so now we're getting very close to it. So if I do the save score thing, I'm trying to figure out how I can leverage save score, because save score requires you to pass in a score, unless I just abstract some of this out. Because really, what's required to be here? Checking the score, updating the score, so those three. Every other one is not required to be there. So what I could do is have a method that is void save file, and I'm not too sure if I'm going to need any parameters or not. We're going to find out in a second if we'll need parameters. But first of all, what I want to do is grab hold of the from save score. We're going to need these. Copy that, including closing curly brace, and I'll just do this. Okay, so if I have this, we need the file path. Okay, we don't have the file path, so we are going to need a parameter. So const std : string file path. Copy that, paste that over here. That fixes that error now. And if I was to run that method now, so save file, and I'm going to say file path. So if we would do the create save file path, we would do save file path and maximum number of high scores. I guess we'll do this. We'll do underscore scores list, underscore scores list dot clear, underscore scores dot clear. So now that we've cleared it, we need to loop over it. It's going to say for int I equals 0, I less than max number of high scores, I plus plus, and we're going to loop over it that many times. And we need this right here. And we are also going to need to grab this, not this, this one right here. And this will be set to default name, default date time, default score. And we're almost done. We'll just need to grab hold of this now. At the end of each loop cycle, that should do it. I forgot to blast date, and if I say hi dot create save file, and we need a file path. So if I say resources /test.json, comma maximum number of high source scores, I'm gonna say 6 just to twist it up, change it up a bit. I'm gonna leave everything as default, and if that works, I'll pass in some other values. We'll see how that goes. that's worked well. It's worked very, very well. I'm very pleased with that. And let's close this down. What I'm going to try now is create something. Let's call it test 2. Let's say with a total of 2, for example. Let's say 3, and the default name is going to be Farhan Hussein, and then the default time will be 567, and the default score will be 90, let's say 100. Give that a run. Let's create a file, and we get an error. That's just an error that will go away with a recompile or rerun. Okay, here we go. Test 2. And that's looking so far so good. That's looking good. That's looking great. That is. Okay, so okay, that's looking pretty good. Save file. So let me just. There's something that I want to do in here, and I want to put a. Put a should I do a hash define or a const? Can I put a hash define in here? Hash define ty4, for example. Can I leverage? Can I use that outside of it? Because I don't want to be able to use it outside of it. Ty. I can't I? Whereas if I mean, can I do it at? Sorry, if it was in here, for example. I think you can if it's. Might actually just whack in engine definitions. Hash define default num. I don't think we need to do that. Define that stuff. Do we? Trying to think. Do we need to define or abstract out? I'm on the wrong place anyway. I was meant to be on the high score manager stuff. The default name, the date time, and the default score. I think, do I need to abstract that out? Yes, no. If I don't, if we're going to have a score manager, so really that's hard coded there. No other instances of the hard code anywhere. I'm gonna abstract it out. I'm gonna put engine definitions, hash define, save underscore d high score. Let's say, so you can immediately see what it is. High score underscore default underscore name is not set. And this default date time zero, and the default score is also going to be 0. Default score. Let me put that in, and then I'll comment this up. it's undefined because I don't actually have it here. That should hopefully fix that issue. Yes, and this is and we need one for the score as well, and we can update it here so it's abstract now. Name, date, score, and is there any more instances of hard coding? I'll grab this. Actually, no, what I will do is delete that. I will create the implementation, and I'm going to grab this, move this all down. Okay, so we're looking good so far. I think we're ready to basically start wrapping up the commenting. So it's got parameter but no return type, and how many parameters does it have? 5? Yes, 5. So the file path parameter I'll grab from here. Maximum or Highscores parameter I'll grab from here, and the other one, default name, default date, time, default score, create a save file with default scores, and default name of each player in the new file. Default date and time as epoch of each player in the new file. Default score. One thing I wanted to, the other thing I want to test, if I say create file and I do what, the scores .json, how will that, no, the VC142 error will disappear when I rerun it. It's not really an issue, but what will happen on a file that already exists? Yes, if I give that a run, this will, let's have a look, see what we get. And we get no crashes. Let's see what would actually happen. He just overrides it. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like if you choose to go down that route of it's gonna override it, that's fine. I have an issue with that. Okay, so we're gonna say we're gonna comment this file now, this function now. This is going to be return, no parameters and return types. Okay, file path. Save the file with the local scores. Okay, I want to comment this now. I'll keep it with the game window width. Game window width. Game window height, game window title, game window, no, default name for high for scores in the high score manager that aren't set. Default date / time for scores and default score. And it's been a while, but we have finally done the high scores. So I am so happy to start closing down these files. LG right, yes. And there we go, there we go. Okay, so we can close that down now. Tomorrow we're doing map stuff. Don't need to do that anymore because I already did that. Okay, so we are going to, first of all, do a quick build. Say quick build, it's just however long it takes. I'm not really controlling that. And then we'll do a commit once it's successfully built, and then I'll update tomorrow the video title because there'll be map stuff. Map. Okay, that's successfully run. I am gonna say here high score manager complete. And I'll push origin, and no, that's good stuff. And what we're gonna do is update tomorrow, so it's number 65, number 10. It's still file loading and saving and high scores. I mean, and map, maps, some sort of default map system. And that needs to be a number 3. And then after that, we're on GUI stuff. Okay, so that is it. I want to thank everyone. Let me just close this down now. All that stuff down. Okay, so I would like to thank everyone for watching, and I will see everyone tomorrow. I'll be doing 2 live streams, one at 11 AM. I'm going to target for 11 AM gameplay, which of Ghost of Tsushima. Really enjoying that game. May even start earlier, or if I get a bunch of other stuff that I need done earlier, I might play 2 hours of that because I am really enjoying that game. And at 4 PM I'll be doing a game engine coding live stream, which will be part 65, part 10 of file loading and saving. So it's not high scores, it's going to be the map system. So that's it. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hopefully you have a, the rest of your day goes well, and I'll see you all very, very soon.